Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from the basement bunker beneath Kello Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. It's great to have you along this morning. We're going to start today with the president's True Social account. Where is it? There he is. So he's saying, our court system not letting me do the job I was elected to do. Activist judges must let the Trump administration deport murderers and other criminals who have come into our country illegally without delay. So that was less than an hour ago that he posted that. Let's take a look at this one. It's more lengthy post. He's back at it again, going after CBS and 60 Minutes. The election interfering 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris, which aired on CBS just before Election Day, and deep into early voting, turned out to be much worse than expected, with her answers being unlawfully fixed, manipulated, and doctored throughout by CBS in order to try and make Kamala appear at least somewhat coherent. Good luck with that. I think you'd need, you'd need months to be able to clean that up. So the full transcript, which 60 Minutes, CBS, Paramount tried to hide from the American people and refused to release until after I was already inaugurated, and because they were ordered to do so by the FCC, shows that the interview was nothing but fake, corrupt, anti-Trump propaganda, which is typical of just about every CBS News broadcast, I think. He goes on top of that, in a total slap in the face to anyone who believes in truth and honest journalism, this fake news puff piece has now been nominated for an award by the totally discredited Emmys. Did I share that with you? I believe I don't know if I did on the Fourth Hour. I did mention it on the radio show. That story was trending earlier this week, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. And so here comes the Emmys, every bit as fake as CBS News. And the president says, these antics are why the American people have no trust in the press and demand that the media, very much including 60 Minutes, CBS, and its owners, be held responsible for their corruption and lies, which is exactly what we are doing in court. Wow. So Donald Trump drops the boom on CBS. I want to see, was there anything else there? Oh, yes. There was a story that he shared at justthenews.com. So let's saunter over to see what's going on at justthenews.com. And it was this Joe Biden memo. There are a couple of stories here involving Joe Biden this morning. So the Biden memo, let feds target Americans for non-criminal behavior. So what was going on? They authorized federal law enforcement 4 years ago to target Americans engaged in, some concerning non-criminal behavior in the name of fighting domestic terrorism. They had a specific eye on those serving in the military, those who own firearms, also spreading what officials considered to be xenophobic disinformation. So there's some newly declassified documents. And Tulsi Gabbard and I had seen this. I've not seen the documents. Tulsi Gabbard released a fully unredacted version of the administration. Now, this is the Biden administration strategic implementation plan for countering domestic terrorism. Domestic terrorism. The Democrat, man. So you can find this story at justthenews.com. Exposed for the first time the law enforcement and intelligence framework that led the FBI to monitor and probe conservative Catholics and parents who protested against some school board policies and justified Homeland Security to engage in censorship or debanking of Americans that the Biden administration considered to be potential enemies of the state. Wow. So you can find that story at justthenews.com, and they've got a link to the full memo if you are so inclined to want to take a look at that. Hardly a surprise of what was going on in the Biden administration, but you think we're not done with Crooked Joe yet today. This story is a big one this morning. Biden denying that he left the race too late to stop Trump, saying it wouldn't have made a difference. So these are the questions now. Did you get out of the race too late? Did you wait too long? You never should have been running for re-election. I mean, so he was asked about this by BBC News, and he says, I don't think it would have mattered. This is his first interview since leaving the White House. And again, you can watch it on this is a piece from foxnews.com. They've got a link. It's a video, so I'm not showing it. It's a rather lengthy video. You want to see the interview. But he says, Biden does, I don't think it would have mattered. We left at a time when we had a good candidate. Yeah, cue the laughter. Cue the laughter. We had a good candidate. He said Harris was fully funded, supported by the Democratic Party, which she was. And he said it was a hard decision. I think it was the right decision. It was just a difficult decision. You can't disagree with any of that. So Harris, Democrats have wondered if Biden put Harris in a tough spot because he didn't give up on his reelection bid earlier. And Biden said, I don't think so. I don't know that would have made much of a difference. And I don't think it would have either, because Kamala Harris is an absolute rube. She is an absolute jabbering rube. I mean, it really would not have made any difference. At least I don't think so. But the former president now is out there talking about it. Got to take a look at Bill Maher on his show. I love it when Bill Maher sets the left on fire. When liberals, Maher is one of the few who will do it. So on his program, I started watching the video and I thought, well, maybe I can show a portion of the video. A lot of profanity, a lot of F-bombs, and I'm just not comfortable with that. That's not the tone of the programs that I do. So I'm not saying it's that I don't watch it or I wouldn't watch it privately. I'm just not comfortable with sharing that. But who is this, by the way, it's Matt Vespa, who's writing this piece. On one of those Love is Blind shows, the bride Sarah dumped Ben at the altar for not being progressive enough. Ben wasn't a hardcore Trump supporter or anything. He just wasn't into the issues. And that led to Sarah jettisoning her TV fiance. And so Maher then used that as an example to prove that the left and is really good at losing elections. And he says, it never ceases to amaze me how liberals don't seem to get that non-white working class voters, Hispanic men, and the youth flocking to the GOP might partially be because they become insufferable on everything. And so Mark gets into it. And he's absolutely right here. Marr didn't go to the White House and do dinner because he's a Trump supporter. And now that he's been there, he's not suddenly a Trump supporter. He is who he is. I didn't expect that to change. It hasn't. And he said he wasn't going in there, to change the president's mind. So, and Vesper writes, he did it because it's not healthy to scream at each other. And yeah, when the president of the United States invites you to dinner, no matter who it is, you go. And so anyway, it's a very kind of interesting piece. I thought you might. And then Bill Maher, the commentary by Maher, I watched a portion of it. And again, I decided, I can't share any of it. There were enough F-bombs in there that I'm just not comfortable with that. But it is funny. It is really funny. And he really goes after it. And I got to tell you, I always enjoy when Maher goes after the left. Now, he goes after conservatives too. But when he goes after the left, I eat that stuff up, man. All right. Okay, Senator Lindsey Graham. It's long past time to hit Iran hard. Lindsey Graham is such a war hawk, man. Senator Graham is always looking to go to war. He's urging Israel to, let's urge Israel to do this. What is it he's saying? Let's take a look here. This was yesterday. Urged Israel to consider destroying Iran's oil facilities to continue striking Houthi terrorists in Yemen. Israel's gone after the Houthi terrorists. No question about that. And so Graham said, to my friends in Israel, do what you have to do to protect your airspace and your people. It's long past time to consider hitting Iran hard. It wouldn't take much to put Iran out of the oil business. Lindsey Graham never saw a war he didn't like. It's just absolutely incredible. There was one other thing, and I've talked about this, and maybe it's a little bit self-serving that I share this. This is Matt Margolis at PJ Media. Need more proof that polls showing Trump is underwater are bogus? Why, yes. Thank you very much. I think I would like a little more. I already believe it, but a little more proof is never a bad thing. So let's take a look. Corporate media keeps pushing the narrative that Trump's approval ratings are sinking. And he says, we've seen this act before. Pollsters swore up and down in 2024 Kamala Harris was going to win in a landslide. But anybody who scrutinized the data knew those numbers were bogus. Yeah, it was the biggest landslide. You had Trump winning every swing state. It was just an absolute blowout. Absolute blowout. And he writes, now that Trump is back in office, the same game is playing out. The media's obsession with tearing him down hasn't faded one bit. Yeah, I thought we got a pretty good look at that Kristen Welker with that Meet the Press interview that she did with the president the other day. It's like, oh, here we go again. It's the same old thing. So polls claiming Trump is underwater. Trump is not underwater. Trump is doing well. And as I talked about this morning on the show, when it comes to issues of law and order, this guy is got it. You got the Attorney General Pam Bondi out there and talking about what they're doing and getting fentanyl off the streets and, gathering up the people who are responsible for that, including a number of illegals who were part of that. And this is, I just found it laughable. You have Harry Enton over at CNN, who is telling them, look, analyzing the polls and look at this and what Americans, why is this such a shock to the media? That's what I always find amazing. Why is the legacy media always shocked when they find out what people are saying on Main Street and how they're viewing things? It just shows how incredibly out of touch the legacy media is when it comes to understanding you, your positions, how you feel, and why Trump, especially on the issue of crime. I mean, look at what he's doing. And I'm, gathering up the number of people who are in the country illegally and getting them out. That's huge. Pam Bondi talking about what they're doing with fentanyl and the amount of drugs and the amount of money and the number of illegals that were seized, all as part of that. You see those things. Of course, people support this. Of course. I mean, and the fact that the media just continues to be surprised by that, it just absolutely amazes me to no end. And it's the same routine day after day from the legacy media, from the Democrat Party. Who has heard from them recently? I mean, Trump so dominates the headlines, and it's absolutely incredible. But Trump so dominates the headlines that unless you're following, ABC, CBS, CNN, the usual, suspects, you just don't. Democrats aren't able to move the ball at all. Maybe it's time for another, sitting on the steps outside the Capitol and which is just, of course, ludicrous. All right, my friends, that's a wrap for today. You made it to the end of the video. Thanks so much for being here. You are part of my gallery of champions, and I want to salute the Bunker Brigade, the folks that are here each and every day. You are so much appreciated. Thank you, my friends. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, I'm underground and gone.